Aloha, and thank you for joining Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii. As you can see, my environment has changed. I'm now sitting next to my daughter's stuff in her cabin, her fingernail polished, and I'm in this luxurious purple chair, too. She just got this luxurious purple velvet chair, and she said she thought of me doing Wisdom Dialogues in it. So, hooray. All right, so we have Christine on right now, and she would like to go into a post that I did on Facebook yesterday. So let's check it out. Perception of unmet needs is only an effect of feeling dissatisfaction within oneself. There are truly no needs. Whatever we perceive as needs reflects completely and perfectly how we've been choosing to interpret reality.
Yes.
Hooray.
So, to me, that's covering everything. It's like everything in life falls into that because I was trying to pick it apart and I can't. So every time I thought about a different situation, so like my health or work or my relationships, I could just take that and apply it to my interpretation.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So,
right.
So the need for health,
the
need for money, and the need for people. So that were the three categories, the main I came up with.
Okay.
And I know that it's not really happening, and I know that this is all the play, and it's all the illusion, and it's mine.
Uh-huh.
And why is there such a need to have a need underneath all of that?
Okay.
What is that driving force? Is it the story? Is it the not feeling good enough? Is it that, like, what keeps that interaction between that keeps the mind engaged with that? Like, how I'm guessing I'm asking how to break it or to see it from a different perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Okay. So this whole perceived world, where things seem to be separate, having, separate people having a separate identity, us having a separate identity from the earth, let's say, and the perception that we're all lacking. Okay. This is what drives what we call the real world or the material world, is this belief in lack, or you could say unworthiness, guilt. There's different words to put to it, but belief that that's even a possibility, because it's not. But if we're taking it as true, we're making it as if it's real. So we're making a dream reality where guilt is apparently real. That's why people can get hurt, and we can hurt each other's feelings, apparently, stuff like that.
Right.
It's like, and I've said before, someone said, but why did it start? Why did it even start? And it's like, it's the power of thought is basically like, it's like the power of God. It's an extension of the power of God, the power of thought. And, it's just an idea arises. What if there is guilt, and there's maybe playfully, what if there is, and going down, it's almost like going down a path and getting to the point where these divisions get set up to where it's like you're lost. It's like you're lost. You're not actually lost, but it's like you're lost. You can't find your way back to that innocence that you are, because you believed so much in the guilt that now you can't. The innocence is like hidden from your sight. It's not that you can't see it, but you don't know that you actually have to choose to see it. See, you think you need forgiveness You would need forgiveness from God in order to return.
Okay.
But you don't. That's already your inheritance. That's already your inheritance. You know, so at this point, you know, it's like it seems so real that we're separate. It seems so real that we have needs that we are responsible for meeting, or the other people should meet, or whatever like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we're far removed from the truth, so to speak, that it appears as if the truth is impossible.
So is that what drives us deeper into it? The need to
It's like trying to get
stand it?
satisfaction. Yeah, it's like trying to get satisfaction within it.
Satisfaction.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's never possible because it's always in the future. It's always in a need that gets met in the future.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. See? So it's like there's no dropping into peace. You're not allowed to drop in and be peaceful.
Oh God.
And so you say how to break it. Well, you are the truth. Okay, so it's like when a perception arises that seems like you have a need, just observing that play, just observing that play of how the need arises. There's a perception of a need, and
Mm-hmm.
it's observing what else arises. You don't have to try to get the need met, but if you're observing and you're apparently moving toward that need, it's not a problem. It's just noticing that you're apparently moving toward that need. See, your body and even your thoughts, they're coming like on puppet strings. You know, it's like it's not your choice how they're going to be. It's not their choice how they're going to come, you know. But when they come up, where your choice is to choose what's true over what it's saying is true. Like if it says you're vulnerable to a disease, you automatically know that that's not a reality. It doesn't jive with reality. You know the feeling of feeling vulnerable to the world, and that's not true. You know, it's what's true is that we have dominion over the world, and since it's not well known to most people, in fact, most people don't want to know that you know we're unconsciously having dominion over the world for the most part. So when we're taking these perceptions as true, as if we actually do need something, like that one that seems to need something is real, and the need is real too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we're seeing it like that, if we're believing it like that in the moment, we're exercising our dominion over the world in a way that brings unhappy illusions to it. See?
Because that's what you're asking for.
Well, but that's what's being projected from the body's
Right.
energy. Yeah,
Right.
you can say that's
Yeah.
what you're asking for. Yeah,
Right.
that's how you can say it, because in a sense you are. It's just not consciously asking for that, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, but energetically asking for it, yes. Energetically, there's a lot of asking for punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, believing that something is out of order for reals. You know, it's like we're trained toward judgment in this kind of environment. It's like we're all day long. It's judgment, 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 and you know that's not right or wrong. The judgments, but when we take our own judgments as true, then it's an energy vibration that is asking for punishment.
Yes.
It is an energy vibration like that. That's why we can have stuff like accidents and illnesses and you know I said we could have stuff, but we don't actually have it like that either. It's a total misperception. It's not anything that's permanent. It's not anything that can't be healed in an instant. It's a total misperception. And just to acknowledge that it's a misperception and there's not really vulnerability in this world is very healing, because it allows that space to relax. and then it allows the experience of it to come,
Allows the experience of what to come,
of reality.
of love.
Yeah, that the reality of our shared innocence, you could say. I
Okay.
mean, you can't really describe reality. You can really describe what it's not, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything you can describe is what it's not. So it's like when we're talking about, reality, what's reality? We can really only just point to it, and we know what it is because we are it. We are it. But it's not, it's something that is present before perception. I don't even know if present is, it's aware before perception. Is it like be like present to what, aware yeah, is it, and we are that. We're aware before perceptions arise, and perceptions pass away, and there we still are.
So is there any connection between the perception and the part that perceives and the one that's being perceived? Is that one, or is the whole thing the illusion?
The whole thing, yeah, all of it. Like, okay, so there's an illusion of an I in
Yeah.
relation to the world. Okay, there's an
Mm-hmm.
illusion of an I in relation to the world. From this perspective of this illusory I, it seems as if it's me and this world. Seems like that. But what's going on is one image, just one image, no separation at all. There's no difference from even this personality, and,
Okay.
and the rest of everything that's being perceived. You know, that's
All,
that's
all, all others? So you're talking about all
all
others, or just
all
all,
all
all
others,
everybody? The one.
all perceived others, because there truly isn't, aren't others, and
Yeah.
that's an experience that everyone's going to have. It's kind of like it's kind of like hip, I guess, right now to talk about oneness and stuff like that, which is awesome, totally awesome. And then the oneness is being looked at largely through the sense of separation,
Mm-hmm.
through that belief in lack. Okay, so it's not really. It's like, yeah, we're one, but not really. We're
Right.
one, but still, I don't want your negative energy. Okay, we're
Uh-huh.
one, but you can threaten me.
Mm-hmm.
I can be threatened by you. See, that's the thing. These are little tricks where it seems like someone can harm us. That's one thing. Someone can harm us without our authority.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes what appear to be little babies. And I'm talking, they appear to be little babies. There's
Right.
no difference. The difference is a difference in perception. It's just a difference in perception. It's a the it could be said that there's a difference in what they know about this world, which is a perceived world.
Right.
You know, there could be a difference in that because they're coming in without knowing what the heck is going on. But from their, you could say, higher perspective is one way of saying it. Um, or the part of yourself that knows everything
Mm-hmm.
is leading everyone's apparent life. It's leading everyone's apparent life. So nothing is going wrong. There's not any victims or anything like that. And that's
Right.
not saying to justify uh, being an asshole.
Right. Right.
There's lots of different ways to do that. That's not saying that's justified. Doesn't give it justification, but it also points your awareness into what true forgiveness is. Okay, what it really means to forgive something.
Right. I always forget this piece. So you've explained this to me many times about the forgiveness. It's just forgiving that you believed in the dream or the illusion? Is that forgiving yourself for that?
Well, it's really forgiving that error.
The error, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, just it's and the forgiveness is a total it's a cleansing of the error too. Because it's in the forgiveness of it, it's not true. It's not taken as true anymore. See? It's correction of an error. Let's put it that way.
But when you say the word forgive, it's usually with the meaning that, someone or something did something wrong,
Yeah. Well,
Right.
that's in the that's in this kind of lack mentality though, you know. It's this kind of lack mentality like that, like forgiveness means you did something wrong and now in my high holy self I am choosing to
Right.
forgive you for it. Yeah.
Right.
This is a forgiveness that cleanses the sin, so to speak. See that? So it's like you probably heard that what sin really means is missing the mark.
Right.
You know, it's just an innocent error. So in forgiving the error it doesn't apparently have power anymore.
Oh, you're forgiving the error, not yourself.
Yes. Yeah. You can't need forgiveness.
Well, that takes me back to the dissatisfaction
Yeah.
and the punishment, right? So, um, that's the place that I've been stuck in for a little bit here. Um,
Well,
the
let's start before you even talk about that.
All right.
When you say the place that I've been stuck in, that's a thought that holds you in that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you say the place I've been stuck in, and I'm not telling you not to say that. I'm just pointing out to notice that when you say that, what it means to your energetic field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's kind of like saying, I want to keep experiencing being stuck here. Okay? And laughter is great because if you see that, whenever you see that thought, you can have that laugh
Uh-huh.
because it really is that simple, Christine.
Uh-huh. Oh
It
yeah.
really there's just not that willingness to allow it to accept that. Like I said earlier, you have to claim heaven. You just claim it. That's it. When you're claiming heaven, you're not making illusions true.
Well, there's nothing else to say after that. There's the answer.
Bob has something to say. Come over, Bob.
Can you see me in the mirror?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
I love when you sum it up like that, Hope. That was awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah, so then I like to say this little quote: "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And there's a sufficiency of thy grace in this moment."
We can't hear you, but we can't hear you, Bob.
Come
Okay.
over here, Bob.
Oh, where
Come
can
over
you?
here.
I
Let's
can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
look at
Now I
here.
can hear.
Look at that.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh, nice to see you, Bob.
Yeah, nice to kind of see you and see your lovely aura. So yeah, so this saying, "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things," and there's a sufficiency of thy grace in this moment. So in that statement, where is the need?
Yeah.
It's like God's grace. What more could you want? And they say that, and then there's not only the idea of need, but desire.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Desire, they say a desire is sin because it's acknowledging a lack.
Uh-huh.
I'm lacking something, I desire
Mm.
because I don't have something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, God says, "Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. So what could you lack from that? When you see God as the source of your life, when you're in touch with source, then there is no lack. It's just that we're out of touch with source, and then we think we have all of these material, mortal needs and desires and requirements, but that's just kind of on the surface of life. It's not going deep to that still wellspring source of being. And then there's the idea of the in the Bible. There's the first chapter of Genesis. God created everything in 7 days, and everything was good. Mankind lived in perfect paradise with God. But then in the second chapter, you have the serpent that says, "Oh, that's not good enough. You have to eat of this fruit to be as God and know good and evil." So then you start to think, well, maybe I'm lacking something. Maybe there's something wrong. I need this fruit. But then, see, once you get into that concept of lack, then that's what throws you out of paradise. Then you get into the guilt. Oh, I sinned. I ate the fruit. Now I'm naked and ashamed. And then you have all the woes of humanity from that one diversion, thinking that, well, I'm living with God in perfect paradise, but there's still something I need. So then the idea is to get back to that perfect paradise that you never left.
Yeah. And it's basically just recognizing the false as such.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just love the line where you just said, just claim it. Like, just, that's it. That's all there is to do, is just keep going back to that. I can do that. I can do that.
And it doesn't matter what the thought says. I mean, I like how Muji puts it. It's like, it's nothing. It's like wind.
Yeah. Right.
But as soon as you take it as true, it turns into a monster of your own making. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you too. Yay. Are you done?
Oh, yes.
For now?
Yeah, that was it for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
welcome
done.
back whenever you come over again. Okay. What's up, Christine? Are you done too?
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
All right. Sweet. Aloha.
I love you.
I love you. My mouse is different today. Oh, there we go. All right. So we kind of covered lack, but there's a little bit more to reveal in that regard, to be revealed. And during the last, I had a retreat for 4 days where it was quiet for 4 days, so there was a lot of opportunity to observe the consciousness, or it wasn't different distractions, worldly distractions and stuff like that, just a real mellow vibe, some yoga and massage, and mostly just hanging around. And what I noticed, wow, it was amazing. It's this perception of lack. It's painful when it's projected, because it's, as you know, a projection doesn't go anywhere. And I found myself during the retreat feeling the effects of those kinds of projections when they'd arise in my mind. Just like looking out, I'm at a beautiful retreat space, and I happen to take a certain position in my chair where in this beautiful jungle view, beautiful, with wind chimes hanging, and just a lovely sensory experience. In my view, there's an area where it's construction stuffs. And immediately how my mind went to condemn that. Immediately. And how that felt. Because it was almost as if that wasn't good enough. and watching how the thought will start and then multiply on itself and start projecting onto people who weren't responsible enough to get that out of there before the retreat. See? These little things, they are not one bit true. They are not one bit true. They have no meaning whatsoever. That's perception. All these projections on it, they have nothing to do with reality. Nothing at all. It's just this projecting energy is on a pattern that comes around. It seems as if the uncomfortable feeling in the body might be caused by what's being perceived, but it's more like the other way around. It's more like that energy is scheduled, so to speak, to come around. Energetic pattern coming around. And the perception is projected from the energy body. So the projection is basically justifying the feeling. It's giving reason for the feeling. But it's kind of after the fact. Okay? It's just manifesting as a matter of energy. So when this energetic pattern is fed, let's use the example of the construction area. And this is fed as if actually believed, start to get into thoughts, oh, if I book a retreat again, I'm going to, and just seeing that, wow, how it goes, it keeps on multiplying on each other. As soon as that's believed, it's felt. It's sensed in the energy body. A lot of us are still unconscious of that. How believing in a thought immediately has an effect on the energy body. But when that pattern is coming around and it's being fed like that, meaning these thoughts are being believed, they're actually being believed, like we're feeling vulnerable to the situation. That feeling is what is making more perceptions like that. They'll just continue to multiply like that until it's seen that it's only a projection. It's only a projection. And then, if there's no projecting, the construction stuff is just looked past. There's all kinds of beauty to see. Could be noticed and acknowledged, but it's not as if it needs any projection of wrong for it. Just keep looking at whatever it is that brings joy, which is the beauty. See? Just keep looking at whatever it is that makes you feel happy. And that's the same, and that's the same within any perception. Okay? Like, say you have a perception of someone that, let's do this one, that you live with who's acting very angry. Okay? If we can't see them as they are, then all there is to do is acknowledge that. But if we take our misperception of them, angry person is a misperception, by the way. If we take our misperception of them and make it true, then we make the whole situation more so. But if we refuse to take that perception as true, then we're open to see what's really true about them. We're open to see the beauty. We're open to expand on the beauty. We're open to expand on what's true about them and protect what's true about them for them. So that even if they think they lost it, we know where it is. We know what's true about them. Okay? We know any perception of lack is a misperception. To be willing to see that, experience that, share that, is all it takes. But the commitment to believing what we perceive is so strong because it seems as if we believe what we're perceiving, then we can fix it. And if we don't believe in what we're perceiving, then we're permitting it to continue. But the opposite is true. It's funny. The solution to every apparent need and to every apparent problem is already connected with it. It's already one with it. It doesn't need your interference. The concepts can just play out while you rest in the awareness. You rest in the awareness that everything is happening for your best interest, with your best interest in mind, with your return to holiness as the only goal. Okay? You can kind of say that God put one goal, God put his or her its goal in the mind as the only goal. And while we run around chasing other goals, God holds that for us. That one goal. And that's for the return to the state of innocence, where there's no thought of lack, and therefore no expression of it. So every thought of lack could be looked past. Doesn't need to be argued with. It doesn't, need you to say, that's not true. There's really enough of that. It looks like there's not enough water, but that's not true. There's really enough of that. That's not it. It's noticing that the perception of lack is a misperception in the first place. And that the solution is already one with it. There's nothing for us to do. There's nothing that we need to do. And that, that tends to get confused with, okay, then I'm just going to sit here. And it's like, there's, let's put it this way, you're not capable of doing. You were never capable of doing, and you've never done anything. But since you believe that you were doing something, since you've been believing that you were doing something, the apparent reality manifested in a way to show what it looks like when you're doing it. What it would look like if you were doing it. Let's say what it would look like, because the manifested reality is kind of like a dream. It's like a mist. It could be referred to as a mist. It's not a reality. It's just an effect of believing in separation, believing that lack is possible. Okay. So in noticing that there's nothing you can do because we're never capable of doing, you can watch let's say you can watch the unfolding of the dream from the lap of God, so to speak. Just watching the unfolding. And it unfolds beautifully from that space because there's no resistance. It doesn't draw in conflict because it's not attacking. It's not an attacking energy. It's a surrendering energy, and and it's a defenseless energy. Okay? So it doesn't attract punishment because it doesn't project attack. Okay? And as soon as there's an identification as one that does something or goes somewhere, like Christine was saying, I've been stuck in this, that's an attack, and it feels like something is wrong. It's something that tells you something is wrong. And if there's belief in it, it's made to feel real and it be perceived as real. That's all it is. So there's no need to identify with any thought that tries to define you. Because once a thought seeks to define you and you believe it, then that definition can be threatened. And that's where defensiveness comes from. Where there's defensiveness, there's attack. And where there's attack, there's punishment. See? Simple. Okay, speaking of needs, this is fun. So, thinking we know what we need, as in asking God to do something specific, to do something in the illusion, to make the illusion better. Asking God for more money, asking God for better health, asking God for something to go a certain way, asking God to be, whatever for a trip to Fiji. I don't know. But so asking God for anything is really selling ourselves short, because from this consciousness, let's say that, from this consciousness and in the perception, within the perception, we cannot possibly know what we want, because it's just a little image that we're seeing. We're not aware of all the possibilities, of all the information. So you can be sure that whenever you ask for something, it's selling. You're asking for not a miracle. You're asking for not a miracle if you're asking for something. Okay, because in asking, it's already saying that there's lack. It's already showing an allegiance to lack. Okay, it's making lack real and then trying to solve it in this kind of prayer. Okay, so it's like when it comes to asking for anything, and it might not even be prayer for some people. I've seen people go to like ceremonies and you go around a circle and you say what you want, and every single time that is uttered, it's making lack real. So it's actually perpetuating that problem of lack. That's not actually real.
What do people say in a circle? They're saying like if people talk about their need in a circle. Or?
Well, whatever they want to manifest. That's a way it'll be put a lot. Yeah, whatever they want to manifest. Yeah. I mean, it'll even be like that. Like, okay, we're gonna go around now. We're gonna say what we want to manifest, or the opposite. We're gonna go around now, and we're gonna say what we want to get rid of and what we want to burn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like asking for like asking for something always comes from the perception of lack. Okay. Even if it means you could take something away, it's always coming from a perception of lack, whatever it is. So it's like when it comes to asking for anything, just noticing the ulterior motive of the ego in that. That's what heals it. Just watching the ego play out changes it. Okay, the whole thing starts to lighten up. And then you can kind of watch the egos play with a sense of detachment as it's playing itself out in view of your awareness. You know, you can see it playing out. When you can see the ego playing out, it can do its thing and just burn itself out, no problem. But, you know, if you see the ego playing out and you take that as something that's symbolic of you, of who you are, it means something about who you are, then there's an appearance of being stuck in it. And this appearance of being stuck in it can last lifetimes. Okay? Because it's only waiting for that one moment when you claim what's really true instead. Okay? Not push it away. Just claim what's really true and it falls away. Okay? So yay.
So I with the I guess no one can hear me.
Come over here.
So yeah, so with the hurricane, so
Yeah.
there's the idea. Oh, I need to send love to the
Yes.
hurricane tragedy and the people that are suffering and everything. And then they say, well, that's acknowledging a problem that you have to, you know, there's dire straits there's tragedy, and that I have to send something. Whereas that's just generating more of the same, because you think you've got to do something for this
Yes.
hurricane, this tragedy. Whereas if you can just abide in peace,
Yes.
without having to send anything or do anything, but to just be in that peace without thinking about the hurricane or the people or sending or whatever, that has more effect than thinking you've got to telepathically or somehow do something, send something, envelop them in white light or whatever.
Yeah, to help fix them.
To help fix them.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the same concept.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. That's a good one. Yeah, so that's a fun one. That, you know, even the sending love part, you know, because who would you send it to? There's only one of us here. So in that moment that the love that we are, the love that's our source, is allowed to be received in this energy body, and it's allowed to be received when we just claim it, and instead of making our thoughts true. Okay, when that love is allowed to fill up our energy body, everything gets healed. And when anything crosses our mind, the connection there gets healed. Anything, anyone. People talk about cutting energetic cords. No need. No need. That connection, whatever the disruption is in the energy field, that's yours. There's not another. There's not another like that. As long as something like that is taken to be true, like someone has dark energy, let's say that, someone has dark energy, that is a misperception. It's a misperception that's occurring in our own energy body. It's an interpretation of energy that is showing something that it's not true. Total forgetfulness of who we are. And it's a projection right onto ourselves. That's the other thing. It's all self-talk. So that person has negative energy is interpreted in the energy body as I have negative energy. You cannot push it away. That's why it said in the Course in Miracles, for you, I'm not paraphrasing, I don't have the quote, for you to be received back into the kingdom of heaven, all of your brothers and sisters have to be allowed in by you. That's the whole population to be allowed in by you. That means you're not projecting any kind of guilt onto people. That means you're not making anyone into an enemy, anyone into a threat, anyone into a negative energy that's independent of your own energy field. Okay? Because that's perpetuating separation. That's what keeps us seemingly apart. That's what keeps walls between us in the apparent world, where we can't relate with love if we feel triggered. See? Hi, Bob. You're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this idea of, that we want to generate love. Well, so I was talking to Hope about, I have vegan friends, and so the whole concept of veganism is that they love animals, that they don't want harm done to animals, and then some of my vegan friends, they have videos on their Facebook about the horrors of the cattle industry, what they're doing to chickens and pigs and cows and these horrible factories and the inhumane conditions, and that they feed them artificial chemicals, and it's the unhealthy environment, all of the uh, rainforests that are being wiped out for the cattle industry, and then all the methane from the cow pies.
Okay, we got it.
And all this. So they want to be vegans, but then if you're not a vegan and you might maybe eat a little meat or a little dairy or eggs, then I have friends that they feel like, oh, they're that you're something bad, and if they hang around you and your animal products, that they're going to be cheapened and defiled, and they don't want to be around it. And then there's the story about this couple that run the Gratitude Cafe, this chain of vegetarian cafes, and so they have this farm up in Northern California, and they had this old cow that they thought, well, it's dying, let's slaughter it and eat it. And so then when the customers of the Gratitude Cafe heard about this, then they wanted to boycott the Gratitude Cafe, and then they started, this couple started getting harassed and even death threats from vegans.
So what's the point of you saying all this?
Well, it's just that there's the idea that the vegans want to generate love, but then it seems like they have a lot of negative judgment.
Okay.
They think there's all this negativity for meat eaters and the industry, but then they're generating a lot of negativity with a lot of negative judgment and put down and even violence towards.
Okay. Let's. All right. Okay. So basically, what you're telling me is you're having a misperception.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to get this perception.
What do you want to do with this? What are you doing with it? With this perception of vegans?
Well, I'm, and then there's me, like, oh, well, vegans put down non-vegans, but then here I'm a non-vegan kind of criticizing vegans for being critical.
So you're actually not doing the criticizing, though. You're not doing that criticizing. That criticizing is arising. And you're identifying with it. That's all. So that voice that's criticizing the vegans, that's not your voice. That's not your voice. You understand what I'm saying? Any voice that criticizes is not your voice. It's the ego's voice. The ego's not your voice. Okay? That's a thing that happens a lot, is there's this automatic identity with this voice that's an attack voice as our own voice. And it's attacking someone. That's not our voice. So when you notice the attack on the vegans arising in your own mind, you just recognize what it is, but you're not identified with it. It's not like I'm doing it. See? You're just noticing that that's what's arising, and in the noticing that it's arising, you can start to sense what it feels like to attack anyone, because it's just the feeling of attack. It's feeling it right there in your own energy body, and in that experience, like I like to say, ride the ride, have the full body experience. Ride the ride and have the experience. In that experience, the judgmental stuff wears itself out. It just burns itself out. You don't have to do anything about it. Just recognize what it is.
Mm.
When these thoughts about what the vegans are doing is occupying your mind, that's just for you to experience.
Mm.
Okay? It's not for you to believe it's true. It's not for you to believe that you're bad for thinking it or you're less spiritual for thinking it, because that's certainly not true either.
Mm.
No thought can make you less spiritual.
Mm.
Believing thoughts can make you feel less spiritual, though. See that?
Mm-hmm.
If you believe that one that that one that says I'm judging, or what did you say, I'm condemning the vegans or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe that one that says I'm condemning the vegans, then that makes for a feeling of I'm less spiritual, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to understand the whole, vegan mentality
Okay.
and how I relate to it, as a non-vegan.
Okay. So you want to, so what you're telling me right now is you want to you want to get into the illusion. You want to get into the illusion.
Well, yeah, I guess the whole question, my whole spiel is just kind of an illusion.
The whole thing is just a big distraction.
Just a big distraction.
Yeah, it's just a big distraction. Yeah.
In my own mind
Yeah.
about vegans.
Yes. Yeah, it's just a big distraction.
So it's pretty meaningless.
Yeah, go right back to the Beatles, Let It Be on that
Let
one.
it be. Let it be.
Let the vegans be, man.
Okay.
Let the vegans be vegans.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay. Well, then, yeah. Okay.
If they want to be militant vegans, let them be militant vegans.
Mm.
Just let people be.
Yeah.
Let
well,
people be.
Obviously, I let them be. They can be whatever they want. But then...
Well, here's the deal. This is where not letting them be. Using the perception of them to attack yourself.
Mm.
That's not letting them be. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's using them to attack yourself. And that's what usually is going on in relating with people. Using them to attack yourself.
Mm-hmm. So there again, that's something outside of you that you can project. And I think it's their problem when you're projecting and you're just really doing it to yourself.
Doing it to yourself, yes, exactly.
Because there's only one self.
There's only one, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use them for that. Even though, wow, it sure does look like they're using meat eaters to attack themselves.
Mm.
Okay, and it's like, it's just recognizing that that's just an example of what it is like to attack yourself.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong, and it certainly doesn't mean that there's any truth to what's being said about meat eaters being whatever. We know that's not true.
Mm.
So what's the charge? If there's a charge about it, ride the ride.
Yeah.
If there's a charge about because immediately, that I could see how that would be taken if you do find yourself eating meat. It's not like you make a choice on that anyways, but if you do find yourself eating meat, I can see how you would take that as an attack. But it's really not. It's more of a cry for help than an attack.
Mm.
It's meant to project guilt, because in that projecting guilt there's some relief from unconscious guilt.
Mm.
They're just trying to feel better. They're just really trying to feel better about themselves. That's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
All that is. So you don't have to do the same thing. You don't have to try to feel better about yourself through ignorant means.
Mm.
See, there's no need. There's just compassion for what is. There's compassion for whatever's arising and seems to be suffering in the moment.
Yeah, well, that's what the charge is, because you see the videos of the farm animals suffering. Just thousands of animals living in squalor and pens.
It's a misperception. It's a misperception. It's not happening.
Mm.
And if we take it as if it is really happening, then we make more illusions of it. That's the trick.
Mm. So
that's
then
the trick there.
Perpetuate that, to put all these videos on your Facebook and everything, and to protest it and everything. You're just perpetuating it. They think that they're helping to stop it.
Okay, yes, what you're saying is technically true, but the way it's coming from you,
Mm.
it's a lie.
Mm.
Because the way it's coming from you, it's looking at them.
Mm.
Okay, I could feel it in the whole way. It's like needing um to show them, and I know that sensation, like needing to show them the error of their ways,
Mm.
as if they're not in their right mind.
Mm.
See that?
Mm.
See how it seems? Oh, they're not in their right mind. Yeah, like they could be dangerous. Like they could really be dangerous.
Well, like I said, they gave this couple death threats for eating meat, not being vegetarian.
Okay, so all right, so death threats notwithstanding, okay, what Bob just said is that there's death threats. So apparently that makes them dangerous, right? No, it's not right. Okay, as an apparent reality, yes, but in reality, it's not actually true. No one can even make a death threat on us without our complete authorship of that. So there's no danger. There's no um, there's only perceived dangers. There's only perceived punishment, and it's like the experience that everyone is having is what they want to have, what they actually want to have.
So that's what everyone focuses on. I'm focusing on vegans. The vegans focus on
See,
the cattle being
isn't that
used.
awesome?
And it's all just we're not focusing on love.
Yeah. So look at how this goes. I'll repeat this. I don't know if Bob's heard. He sounds a little quiet to me. So,
Let's see if I heard.
so it's everyone's focused on someone else's problem. The vegans are focused on the meat eaters being evil, and they're also focusing on the suffering that they perceive the cows going through. Okay, so there's that, and then Bob is focusing on the vegans. So it's like the projections, it's like everyone is in this. It's almost like this love affair, or yeah. It's almost like a love affair, but whatever the opposite of that would be. and just keeping one another in a state of delusion, unconsciously keeping one another. It's almost like an unconscious agreement to say, hey, I'll project this for you if you project this for me, and we'll hold this illusion down together. We'll just keep it like this. We'll keep going with these guilty concepts. Yeah. It's like Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, be passerby. So it's like whatever is arising, it's just like you're traveling. It's like you're traveling through it. So you're traveling right through it. It doesn't stick to you.
And then there's the concept of life is just a passing parade, that you're still and life is passing you by like
however it doesn't matter. However it clicks for you in the moment, and that might change from time to time. However it clicks for you in the moment, it doesn't really matter.
But then see the whole idea of food. I mean, do we even need to eat? It's like there's another need, I need food. I need to eat. If I don't eat, I'll starve.
Well, of course, believing that you need food is debilitating, okay? Even believing that you need to breathe, let's go all the way to breathe, okay? Even believing that you need to breathe is debilitating, okay? You don't even need to breathe. That's happening automatically, and it's going to go on until you shut it off. And that's from a perspective that's beyond this consciousness. The perspective before consciousness, perspective that has knowledge of everything, and from that perspective, the breath is breathed, and life is coming. There are no needs. There's not even need for the breath. But to take it as if we have a need for the breath, say you have a chest cold. You develop a chest cold, right? Apparently. Let's always put apparently on that because no one has a chest cold. There's an appearance of it. There's appearance. It's an interpretation of energy, but in that there's a fear. Oh my God, what if I can't breathe? There's this fear. What if I can't breathe? And if that's taken as an actual thing, that you would be, breath would be withheld from you against your will. If that's taken as an actual thing, that's an attack on yourself. Breath can't be withheld from you against your will. Against your conscious will, quite possibly, it could happen. But your conscious will is just a perception. What's willed in consciousness is the will of a perception. Okay? That will to breathe.
Yeah, they say we don't walk on our legs, we walk on our will.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing that can happen to you against your will. Let's put it that way. And you know, it could be said that aligning your will with your true will, when your will is aligned with your true will, nothing can even seem to harm you. You can't even have the perception of illness, the perception of an accident or conflict even. And that's it could be said that that's our shared destiny. Every eye will see. Everyone will return to the knowing of the peace that passes all understanding. So if anyone would like to speak with me, please raise your hand. I don't know if I have anything else. Do you, Bob?
Yeah, I can't remember. There was something I wanted to talk to you about. I can't quite remember. I guess it'll come to me later. We can talk about it, but not really, no.
Okay.
How long has it been?
We're at 4:09 Hawaii time. So there was a question that came up last week. It was Yulia, and she's not on today, but I would like to address it anyways because I think she watches these, and it's also really fun. It's also just a really fun topic, and you know, I just wrote something about it too, and that's saying no. She was afraid to say no. Okay. She was expressing that she was afraid to say no to her sons who seem like they're being codependent on her, or she's being codependent. However that kind of scenario works, she's being codependent with them for being lazy and not going to work and all that other kind of stuff. So she's like, can't I just say no? And I was kind of like taken aback, like, oh my goodness, is the question you are asking? Is do you want permission to say no? Of course you can say no. Of course you can say no. There's no problem saying no at all. It's just what comes up so often in the saying no, or even when deciding whether to say no, is projections of guilt, as if you're saying no because the person isn't worthy of a yes, you know. So often that's how the whole no is given energetically. So it's like saying no to someone in this energy is saying, no, you're not worthy of a yes. So I'm punishing you and I'm saying no. You're lazy, for instance. You're lazy. You haven't taken responsibility for your life. So now, you know, I'm not going to do it anymore. No, it's projecting like as if someone has done something. Nothing happened. Let's start from there. Nothing happened. The answer no arises. The answer, you know what? No, I don't feel moved toward this relationship anymore the way it is. I don't feel moved toward it. So no arises. But the no is just coming from this is the choice that's being made right now. This is the choice that's being made right now. Sure, I could see all of the ego's reasons why I'm saying no right now, but I'm sure that we're only innocent and no is my answer right now, and I love you. That's all. See, it's simple. It's really simple. That kind of no is yes to our shared innocence. And yes to our shared innocence is what I'm laughing as Bob's yawning. We can see you.
Oh,
That was awesome.
Oh, I thought that was out of it.
You're so cute. So when we say yes to our shared innocence, we allow it to be revealed to us, and we allow ourselves to experience it a little bit more, or maybe a lot more in the moment. When we experience our shared innocence, it's such a blissful, peaceful feeling because we don't have to pretend to be vulnerable anymore to illusions. You know, we know that whatever's coming is a perfect representation of what we've been taking as true. And whatever presents itself can be used for truth, can be used for revealing the truth, instead of used for perpetuating illusions. That's our choice. Okay? So thank you. It's such a pleasure to share with you. I appreciate you so much. And unless anyone raises their hand in the next couple seconds, I will just sign off. As always, this is sponsored by Miracle Botanicals. Also just hired someone. This is just exciting news. I'm not asking for anything. I don't need anything. Is exciting news. Just hired someone to help me out with getting this a little bit more out there, I guess, so to speak, and making it I guess so that it attracts people. I don't know how the thing works at all, but he really seems like he does, so that's fun.
Is that for Miracle Botanicals or Wisdom Dialogues?
Well, Wisdom Dialogues is really, sponsored by Miracle Botanicals, and Wisdom Dialogues doesn't make any money, or sometimes people just give me donations, and that's always gratefully accepted. But it's not even expected or anything like that. It's just something that's offered by Miracle Botanicals as just part of promoting awareness is one way to say it. I don't know. Because we love you. We love you. And if you enjoy essential oils, we have the most amazing line of essential oils. We sample all different varieties, all different renditions of the same variety. Let's say like that. Like we'll sample as many as we can, and always get the highest quality. And if we pay more, we pay more. We just adjust our price accordingly. But our prices also come out real reasonable because we don't have any MLM or middlemen or anything like that. And everyone who touches these oils, everyone who comes into contact with them, is just giving them the most beautiful, loving vibe, okay, so to speak. The relationship there is this such appreciation. Everyone who comes into contact with these essential oils before they arrive to you. A lot of people tell me how they can really feel the difference in the energy of these essential oils, and that's that's because everything is energy. And when they come into our space and we're exchanging energy like that with them, it amplifies what gifts they're already bearing. Essential oils offer they're beings just like us, part of the one of the one. I, with no perception of lack, with no perception of lack. And they can share that with us. And I've experienced that firsthand when there is a perception of lack, and asking for an essential oils counsel, an essential oils guidance. Not trying to use it as a magic, like as a medicine, which there's no problem with that either. People do that all the time, and no problem. But you know, really communicating with that plant spirit, and and being open to receive its wisdom. Yeah, essential oils are wonderful for that. So if you're drawn to it, miraclebotanicals.com, that's the name of our company. Yeah, we would love to sell you some essential oils. It would be fun. I love you all so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you, or you'll see me, and I'll feel you. Tuesday at 3 o'clock Hawaii time. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.